All right, welcome to Freedom Ring live stream. If you do want to comment, please do it on the Let Freedom Ring page because for whatever reason, anything I stream off my personal, we don't get notifications during the show. But my guest this tonight is Marcus Hay out of Louisiana. Marcus, welcome to the show.
What's up, Dan? Thank you for having me on. Finally, we've had you on our show quite a bit with wrestling talk, especially nostalgia. And I've checked out Let Freedom Ring. I'm like, this is interesting. I definitely have to be a part of this. And you gave me the thumbs up. And now we're here finally.
Yeah, no, very excited to have you. Like you said, I think I've done a few review shows. I think we covered a SummerSlam, I believe '94. There was and I think we covered WrestleMania 12, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was a different one. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I'm getting old, you know.
We've done SummerSlam '94. We did WrestleMania 12. I swore you came on a Royal Rumble on Ready to Rumble, but maybe you haven't.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, but I'm sure I have. But before we get into anything, you get into the holiday spirit yet?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I got my tree and I got kids' presents set up in the back. Uh, we were supposed to do some Christmas movie reviews, but personal shit happened, and then I started getting exhausted and needed a break. So we're holding all that off till next year because our schedule has been loaded anyway with the holiday season coming up. But yeah, I still watch my holiday movies. Got to watch Christmas Vacation, Home Alone, Bad Santa, Dylan, Die Hard, Batman Returns. They got that iconic Christmas movie debate coming next Thursday, December 22nd on YouTube. Gonna be a hell of a fun chitter chat on what's Christmas movie and what's not.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I agree with you. Starting to get into the spirit. I know it's next week. Time just flies, especially as you get older. It's wild. But let's get to know you a little bit. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
So I was born and raised in Southwest Louisiana, of course. I was born in Jennings, about 10 miles from where I live now. Grew up in Lake Arthur, lived there for 21 years. Lived in Lake Charles for 10 years, lived in Texas for 2 years, and moved back home a year ago, my own place now, and just kind of, living that life, watching wrestling like you and watching all the sports and everything, living that life.
Awesome. Now, if you had to sell somebody, I named the show tonight. I called this Louisiana Bayou, which is a big softball term we use when you hit the ball by somebody. We go, that's a Louisiana Bayou. Obviously, not spelled
Yeah,
Bayou
kind
like
of
that.
like bye, like adios. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. I got to ask if you could sell anybody, what's it like if living in Louisiana? Could you sell people on that?
Oh yeah, if you're talking about the food out here, that's what sells the people the most is the way we cook out here and everything. We love our food spicy and everything. We'll eat critters if you cook them right, season them right. That's how we get more attractive with tourists that never came in our state. They're like, oh, I just came out here for food. Like if you're not going to hear them say, oh, I wanted to come see New Orleans or go to Mardi Gras or this and that. No, they want to come eat our food down the bayou.
No, I like that. Shout out to KPG Kendall, member of the Four Families. Give a shout out to Let Freedom Ring. I've been to New Orleans once. I did a cruise out of there. I have to say, it is different culture. Didn't know how to handle people just walking around the mall drinking beer. Like that's a
Well,
thing.
New Orleans is more Creole. If you
Okay.
want to come to food wise, like for example, even Dylan says this too. I know you said you got my co-host Dylan coming on soon. If you ask him this kind of same question, you're gonna get the same answer I'm gonna give you. I'll give gumbo for a prime example. We eat it like just a gravy with rice. Sometimes we'll throw potato salad on top. We do like chicken sausage. We'll do an okra. We'll do all that. Where like in New Orleans, they want to throw freaking tomatoes, corn, and lettuce and all that on top of it. You basically cooked us a vegetable soup
Yeah.
and you're calling it a gumbo. No, that's not gumbo, sweetheart. Creole and Cajun is just two different things right there.
No, could see that. And what's the what a raw bar? Is that a big thing around you too? Like the Am I thinking the right thing here? I might be wrong. Oyster bars are a thing, or
Yeah, they have some restaurants. Yeah, they cook oysters and If you can eat them raw, you can eat them fried. But if you're gonna eat them raw, they actually give them to you in an ice tray, and they still got them in the shell, and you have to like slurp it out of the shell. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not big on oysters, but I have done it. Maybe one of the most embarrassing moments I ever had. I wanted to try it for the first time, and I wasn't scared. I was like, "Man, I'm a man. I can do it." When I took that first slurp, it was so nasty I threw up in the ice tray.
Oh no. No, that's too funny. And I gotta say this: a lot of people, New England's known for its clam chowder. I've been in New England my whole life. I don't like clam chowder one bit. Um, now we know that. I want to know this: what are three things that everybody should know about you?
Uh, well, of what you would, how you would take it. I'm very big on LSU, but in your terms, you're going to say I'm the biggest Brian Kelly fan in the
Oh
land.
well, when we'll talk about that.
Uh, I'm very big with LSU. That's the number one thing. Number two, I can be very passionate with whether if it's my sports teams or pro wrestling. If I'm very into something, I'm going to be passionate for it. And I'm another type where I've had many people like I wouldn't say like doubt me, but like I've had people always can count on me in any type of way, even if I'm not intending to do something, they can count on me to do something.
Okay, all right, good answer, good answer. And here's the big one: we are Let Freedom Ring, and we ask everybody this question. It means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But what does it mean to you to be an American?
It means a lot. I mean, we have the freedom because of the brave. I mean, I thank all our fighting men and women who paid the ultimate sacrifice for me to do what I love doing, being on broadcasting, doing shows like this, and doing World Elite and everything. Watching all we dominate sports. I mean, yeah, with the World Cup going on, which I really don't have no interest in because I don't think any American outside of Louisiana, really gives a shit about soccer. When we got the real football that we always have the argument with foreigners, like, oh, football is soccer. No, football is with the pigskin. Yeah, everything. I mean, the freedom, the culture, of course, the bravery
All
and
right,
no
no,
fear.
no, I like that answer, and we're a widespread country because obviously living in New England, where or New Hampshire, where I am, and where you live in Louisiana, it's very different. But we celebrate a lot of those differences too.
Yeah, but now some states they might can brag, say, "Oh, I'm more patriotic." Like, yeah, we can get pretty patriotic down in Louisiana, and I know y'all more New England. I know the Patriots is Massachusetts. I'm pretty sure you guys get or maybe the number one patriotic state. But then go have that argument with Texas, or go have that argument with Florida of who's the most patriotic. I mean, that's a fist fight right there. If you're gonna argue with a Texan or someone that lived in Florida of who's the most patriotic. I mean, but y'all call it the Patriots. I mean, I have to give Massachusetts that.
Yeah, well, that's because that's where the East Coast is where the American Revolution really took place, and the
Yeah.
original 13 colonies. I did upset my friend's mom the other day. I met her for the first time. She's from Illinois, and I was ragging on the Bears, and I said, well, if you're really not part of the original 13 colonies, you're really part of the United States. And obviously, I was ribbing her, and she took quite of offense to that.
Yeah, Louisiana's kind of like I wouldn't say house divided. Like they care for this country, but then again they want to talk about if we lived in the colonial days, like if we were still had them 13 colonies, like all that with General Lee and so forth. Like, okay,
Yeah, I mean, it was a big part of the expansion of the United States. Obviously, the Louisiana Purchase under Thomas Jefferson is like it's crazy to see the expansion of America, and if you know the whole history of it, which I hope most people do, it's pretty fascinating.
yeah.
Um, I want to ask you this because this is a big part of what you do. You are part of the World Elite Podcast, which I believe mostly covers wrestling. Do you guys cover anything else?
After we've been doing this for 2 years now, we hit our 2 year anniversary last month, and we want to expand in some way. In 2 years, we've gained a lot of attraction. We've met a lot of great people like you, for example. We've collided with other great shows, and some of y'all four family members. We've done some great connections with Nerds of Wrestling and so forth, for example, and we want to try other stuff. We want to keep talking and giving updates, weekly updates with wrestling, and then we started doing mainly known for doing topic episodes on stuff, and then we started doing pay-per-view nostalgias. We were kind of going more on the entertainment side a bit. We want to talk about entertainment life and do reviews on movies now and do reviews on TV shows. Like we gave it a try a few months back. We did an episode on the Jeffrey Dahmer series that happened on
Oh wow.
Netflix. There, one of our most successful turnouts ever. Then I did a Halloween movie review I thought was pretty good. And that's when we tried to get on that hop on that Christmas train and do some holiday movie reviews, but it kind of got pushed back due to some personal matters with me and exhaustion from kicking ass for 2 years with this show. So we're going to hold that off and we're going to start the entertainment side starting in 2023. We'll start doing a lot more like movie reviews on good movie, or if it's a good movie, a bad movie, good TV series, bad TV series. But we're still going to do wrestling talk, of course. That's what we're also known for. We're known as the highest tier pod of your weekly unfiltered wrestling and entertainment.
Awesome, awesome. I want to give a shout out to my boy Kevin watching the show. We're gonna get him on an episode soon. I'm with you. Like I let Freedom Ring obviously is to cover everything. Obviously, we talk about our guests, but I do like doing things like that, a movie review here and there, or something that a lot of people are gonna have interest in. Or if it's just me, I don't care. Then I'll do it. But how did you decide that you wanted to start a podcast?
I get this asked a lot. Like if people ask me, what made y'all want to start it? Kind of like the same reason a lot of newbies have started around 2020, 2021. I mean, the pandemic going on, you can't do a lot around, you can't go here, everything's shut down, and you're stuck at home or working from home and you're bored. And let's see, I've known Dylan through the internet since 2016. We didn't actually personally meet each other, I think, until like
Oh, okay.
2020, 2021. We started out as just friends on Xbox, and then we followed each other on social media. And I was like, oh, he's a wrestling fan too, like me. We've talked it on Twitter a lot. We actually had this kind of idea before the pandemic. It just never took off, and I never bought the equipment and stuff. But yeah, one day in the middle of the pandemic, he was writing for Downtown Sports, and he started the podcasting with Downtown Saints. And I saw he was doing this. I'm like, oh, this is cool, because I thought podcasting was kind of lame. I thought it was just another way. It's kind of like being on the radio. I've had radio experience, and I'm like, I wasn't that big on it. But then the more I listen, I'm like, this looks better than writing, because I started writing for AEW on Downtown Sports. I think after 2 months, he was writing something for WWE and NXT, and he was like, let's just do a podcast. That would be 10 times better. We don't have to type and make edits and all that. We can just express ourselves. And I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. I had bought all this. This is the mic I've been using for 2 years. It just looks different because I bought this boom arm during the holidays last year. I started with this laptop right here. This is where I've done all my episodes on until I upgraded to like a big massive PC I got in this studio office here. And it's been a hell of a ride, and we're still going forward. I couldn't ask for a better two co-hosts than Dylan and his cousin Jordan. Jordan actually came on as a guest. He was our very first guest on the show. I think the third or fourth episode he hopped on. He held the record. He held the record for being the guest the most. And then at one point, Dylan's like, you want to make him a co-host for this show? And I was like, let's do it, because before that, we were talking about trying to do a football podcast too while we were doing World Elite. So we started this show called Football Fandom that only lasted 2 episodes. And it started during the off season. Like our first episode dropped the week before Super Bowl, was it 50, the one in 2021, 55.
I know
The
I'm
one where
losing track of which Super Bowl we're at.
the one Tom Brady won with Tampa Bay against the Chiefs. So that was 2021. After the second episode, we dropped the second episode the week of the Super Bowl, and that was like, well, what the hell are we going to talk about football till the draft? We're not like Locked On. If you ever heard of the Locked On Sports Network, where they just talk about it all day, every day, 24/7, 365 days a year. And then Dylan's like, you want to just make him a co-host for World Elite? And I'm like, absolutely. I love talking with Jordan and hearing his wrestling talk. And he hopped on about he became an official co-host, I think, like 4 months after we got the ball rolling. So he's been with us about a year and a half, but the show together, where Dylan and I started, been 2 years, but we call ourselves the Hostly Trio, except we're not Stretch, Fatso, and Stinky from Casper the Friendly Ghost. But yeah, I had to think of a clever name if we're gonna have a three-way name of hosting this show. But yeah, that's the backstory of World Elite right there. The quickest I could say.
Yeah, no, that's pretty interesting. I thought you and Dylan had been. I just assumed because you guys are from the same area that you had known each other for years. So that's kind of interesting to know. I have to admit, I just recently did a piece for Merrimack Television, which is where we air most of our stuff for Let Freedom Ring, where I was asked how I started a show, which was I started with a blog like 10 years ago, and I hated doing like it was just this is way better. I understand not wanting to write a piece every week. That can be a lot. So totally understand where you guys are coming
Yeah.
from.
I was using like 3 apps to like edit like my blogs and everything for AEW. I can't even tell you what the names are anymore because like after I've upgraded to podcast and I just deleted everything off my phone and never looked back.
No, totally understand. Now, what are some? Have you had any interesting guests? Any episodes that you've had that just stick out in your head? Like, man, we knocked it out of the park that day.
Well, we've interviewed a lot of wrestlers over the last 2 years. I would say that would be the highest level we got, whether if they were just indie wrestlers or so. Now we've had a few names that like wrestled in the big leagues, like the very first big name, I guess you could say we had as a guest was you remember James Ellsworth?
Oh yeah, very much so. 3 wins over
We
AJ Styles.
we had him. We had him on the show. We've had Justin Credible on the show, former
Oh wow.
ECW champion. We've had him on. We've gotten a guy who once was a writer for WWE, and he was Matt McCarthy was his name,
Oh wow.
not Mike McCarthy, not the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I think his name is Matt McCarthy. We've had him on, and we've had some indie wrestlers that like got a big push. Like when we interviewed these people, they were still working indies, and about a year later, they're now like called up. Like for example, Masha Slamovich, who's now in Impact Wrestling right now. We've had Maddie Renkowski. We've had who's now in the NWA with Mr. Kate. We've had Mr. Kate, who's now in NWA, and this is just a few names right there. A lot of other people we've had are just kind of been in the indies. We've had some people that worked on AEW Dark for like one time and then kind of went back into the indie side. And probably the biggest I'll say out of everyone that I named, from Justin Credible, James Ellsworth, we got all 5 members of Shane Taylor Promotions earlier this
Oh
year
wow.
in
Okay.
in honor of Black History Month, I guess you could say. It started off with Shane Taylor, and it was so successful. They listened in. We ended up getting all 5 members 1 week at a time. We've had Khan, who's now wrestling in AEW and Ring of Honor. He's part of the Embassy. He's now a World Six-Man Tag Champ again with Brian Cage and Tyo Leona. We've had the Rev Ron Hunt, their manager, who also wrestles a bit. We've had O'Shea Edwards, and we've had Moses. That's all 5 members of STP, and who've all wrestled in Ring of Honor. And now some of them are kind of still in the indies, but I know for sure Shane Taylor, who just did a match at Ring of Honor Final Battle, teaming up with a new member. I forgot his name, and they took on Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. JD
Yeah.
Griffey. JD Griffey
Okay.
is his name.
Oh, very cool. And I know Kendall was tuning in. He's had Shane Taylor on his show too. Seems like a really great guy.
Absolutely. They all were. But I think Ron Hunt was the most like passionate, outgoing one, like very freedom of expression. Where, the other guys, they were like cool and laid back, they answered all our questions and they were funny and everything. But I think Ron Hunt kind of just sold it. He was very happy to be with us. Dylan actually got him on a second time on a mini show he did that got unfortunately cut short. So he had him twice. I've only speak with him one time. Hopefully we can get one of them back again or two. I'm sure Ron Hunt would love to come back on our show because he had a blast.
Now, how do you recruit your guests? Because people ask me this stuff all the time. Are you using social media? How are you going about that?
Dylan's is the one that usually does all the booking when it comes to guests. Like if it's an indie wrestler or something, if he's interested in them, he'll get a hold of them and ask if they're interested. And if yes, no, RSVP. we've had some indie wrestlers that got in touch with him and say, "Hey, I would like to come on your show and share my
Oh no.
story." And if anyone like that sends him a message, oh, he'll talk to me about it. We use 9% are going to say yes, especially if it's a wrestler. We don't care if you're just wrestling in front of 5 people. We love to hear stories like this.
Yeah, and I meant to
Now,
share this too. This is the logo of the show here too. If anybody's interested in following this, it's on Facebook. You can find the podcast um, on the podcast app. Correct?
we're free and available wherever you get your podcasts from Spotify, Apple Pod, Google Pod, Spreaker, iHeartRadio. But we're signed with Floor Slapper Sports. So go to floorslappersports.com if you want to listen to those episodes as well.
No, no, awesome, awesome. I meant to share that picture. That's a pretty cool logo. How did that come about?
I think Dylan made that logo, if I'm correct. I know he's tuning in and listening. Maybe he can comment or he'll text me. I think he made that logo. He made the first one where we had our names at the bottom. Like, if you saw what the original one looked like, it didn't have the stars on the end on both sides. It said World Elite Podcast across the top. And on the bottom, it had Dylan, Marcus, and Jordan. But he updated it, and the 3 stars mean me, Dylan, and Jordan. We're the Hostly Trio.
Okay.
The globe thing, I think someone made that for him or he came about it, but it's the perfect light for a world. Now the name World Elite, I didn't realize it was an actual word in the dictionary. It means highest tier. But
Okay.
I came up with the name World Elite. I took world from World Wrestling Entertainment and elite from All Elite Wrestling because at first we were starting off as covering WWE and AEW, and we just evolved and start talking Ring of Honor, talk Impact. Sometimes we even talk classic WCW, ECW. Not so much New Japan. We not so much MLW, GCW. We don't really watch that.
No, I love the idea of old school review shows, and
Me
it's been
too.
an honor to go on there for that. Have you had any shows that have just like gone off the rails, and you're like, oh boy, we've I don't know if it's been a guest or anything. It's like we got to bring it back here somehow.
Oh, when I read that, I thought you meant like on a bad term.
No, not on a bit. It could be any kind of term, or just to show that it's like, well, this went in a totally different direction than I expected.
Well, without you say that, I'll say on a good term and on a hilarious term. Like on a good term, if we've had a guest like, oh my God, that was an amazing story we heard, we're definitely going to bring them back. And that's even if it was somebody from the podcast world, because we've had people in the podcast world countless times on our show that they're just so good with what they've done. We let them come do shows with us and they just hit it. And we're like, we got to invite these people back probably like in 2 months for a different type of topic or whatnot. On a funny side, yeah, we kind of have our moments, especially with me. Like, you never know what's going to come out of my mouth. I might say something that's hilarious to people. I might say something that's not going to make people laugh, or I might have my ins and outs. Same with Jordan. Like, Jordan, see, that's a perfect example right there, just burping. But Jordan's kind of like that butterfly about to pop out of his cocoon. Like, you never know what he's going to say, and it could be just a normal thing and going forward, or he gonna say something that's just gonna bust everybody out. Like, it could be hilarious. Like, oh, like Jordan is a hilarious guy. He just got us with that one. That's about, or me eating Taco Bell in the middle of Dylan bringing up his favorite tag team, pulling out a quesadilla and nacho fries and getting the whole damn, him and Jordan laughing their ass off and the people listening commenting hilarious shit.
Now, what's your favorite part of doing the show?
Expressing my thoughts
Okay.
and being honest and not have to worry what haters would think. If people agree with me, hell yeah. If people don't agree with me, that's your business. It's your own opinion. We go forward. And plus, hearing stories and if you're talking about flashbacks like the nostalgia episodes, going back and reliving the good days of yesteryear in wrestling too.
Yeah, that was some of the funnest, the best part that when I did the show with you that we've reviewed shows was that I didn't really go back and watch too much before I did the review. I wanted to review the show as if what I was thinking in that moment. You know what I mean? Because I think a lot of times when people go back and review, all right, I'm an adult now. I'm a 38-year-old man. I'm not a 12-year-old boy anymore. But I can tell you kind of what I was thinking when I was 12, and I could tell you what I was thinking at 38. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of like a fascinating piece of that is that, man, your perspective does change on things.
Exactly, and that's another reason why I love the WWE Network when it launched, because I can go back and watch all these pay-per-views I watched as a kid that I paid like buying pay-per-views in the 2000s was like
$30,
$30 at the time.
maybe 25 right before that. I remember thinking my parents being like, "That's really expensive." I go, "Huh?
Yeah,
Nowadays,
that
that's
was a lot. Go and relive that, plus even going back and watch the ones I never got to watch because like, oh, we bought a pay-per-view last month. I'm not buying a pay-per-view this month. Or if we were going to plan on watching it, but either I was punished or we went out of town for something. That's why I loved it. And like since 2014 when it launched, whether if it had its own network on the app or on Peacock, I could I couldn't tell you how many hours of WWF pay-per-views or WWE pay-per-views, whatever you want to call it, I've watched, even though I've watched them countless times on VHS or watched something that I watched pay-per-views from the early 90s when I was only like 2 years old. It
Yeah,
was
I
nice
mean,
to see all that history lesson, like guys in your generation, the Gen X's were saying, "Oh, wrestling was the shit." When we had Hulk Hogan and Junkyard Dog, Andre the Giant, and the Fabulous Freebirds, and I've watched those classic tapes and highlights. I'm like, this was amazing stuff back then, 35 plus years ago.
oh, it's crazy some of the crowd reactions they had back then. There were definitely lulls, but I mean, honestly, I think wrestling as a kid probably was more like enjoyable than as an adult. I feel like a lot of adults now that are wrestling fans almost get overcritical of everything because they know the ins and outs so much now. Do you know what I mean? Where
Absolutely. Yeah, I find it funny too how people thought how real it was in the 80s. Like this was like superheroes to people or villains, like real life villains or real life superheroes.
well, I'll tell you what, it's kind of like for me as a kid when I found out that Santa Claus wasn't real. It was the same thing kind of with wrestling, and then respected it to what it was. But yeah, as someone that I wrestled, I started wrestling as a third grader, right? And I would watch wrestling and be like, this would never actually happen. You know what I mean? Like that's not how a wrestling match would go. But uh,
Well, before I even got the like learned as a kid, like wrestling's fake, right? I kind of knew from the beginning that it was somehow none of this was real because the way they take the bumps, it's like how could they survive something like this? And then I've heard all the rumors like, oh, the wrestling ring's a trampoline, or the weapons are like, or they're rubber. Like they make some bullshit up, like, oh, steel chair is not steel, it's like rubber. They make some kind of nonsense like that, but it's like I kind of figured out on my own for like 2 years that wrestling was not real, but I still enjoyed the hell out of it. But then
yeah, I
again,
was
look at I'm sorry to cut you off, but
no, no,
like
you're good, good.
for example, look at like Broadway shows and stuff. People who go to like these Broadway shows think the storytelling is real, but it's all choreographed, just like wrestling.
Yeah, I always knew that like you couldn't take someone and force them into the ropes. They would just drop and hit a double leg takedown. You know what
Mm.
I mean? Like,
Yep.
shout out to Phil Harris of the Jax Rangers show. Big supporter of that. Check it out. Um, and I just believe that Phil just got a he does a MLR, the New England Free Jacks podcast, and I believe he's doing some work with the MLR now. So shout out to Phil. Huzzah! Shout out to him.
I
Want to
like that.
ask now, want to go into a few other things why I have you on the show because obviously you're a wrestling fan like me. I want to address a couple things and just get your perspective on it. Let's talk about this a little bit. Mandy Rose has been the NXT Women's Champion now for over a year, absolutely killing it with Toxic Attraction. However, Mandy had, I guess it's not an OnlyFans page, but it's in the realm of OnlyFans. But she had some pretty not. I wouldn't say anything. It didn't sound like it was super graphic, but anyways, she lost the title on Tuesday, and was released by by World Wrestling Entertainment the following day. Do you have any take on what's going on with with Mandy Rose here?
So I have a bit of to say about this in two different directions. So on her like title reign perspective, I thought she did an amazing job holding it for over a year. I said if she's gonna eventually lose it down the road and maybe get called up to the main roster, but I didn't expect her to lose it following deadline. I was figuring, okay, maybe she'll lose it at Vengeance Day or probably stand and deliver. She'll probably get called up around WrestleMania time. That's what I kept thinking. Well, watching NXT, I kind of like had that. Holy shit, did that just happen? Like Roxanne just beat Mandy Rose. I'm like, maybe they're doing it now. They're getting Toxic Attraction called up now. And then I get the alert about, they did this because one of her like photos or videos got leaked. And sure enough, I found the video. It was a video she posted nude in her swimming pool that was very exposable. And I really wasn't paying attention to what she was saying, if you know what I mean. But it's then all the backlash and the outbursts came like, oh, she got released. But there's like so many sides of the story of it, like, oh, she got released because she was this was kind of a side she was doing and it wasn't approved by WWE, so this wasn't a WWE thing. And then people were bringing up the stuff like, well, what about that picture she took fully nude in her like lounge chair by her swimming pool with both title belt the NXT women's title covering her downstairs and the UK women's title covering her rack. They're like, well, WWE scheduled that picture pose and stuff, or they
Oh,
bring
they
up
posted
all
it. They posted it. It was
yeah,
on their Instagram.
they posted that and they had the rights of that, but what she did on her own, like the money she's making on the side, that was not WWE related, and that's what she got busted for. Kind of like with Paige on Twitch and stuff when she was in WWE,
Adam Cole,
like
I think, was a similar thing where he's making money on the side, and they don't
similar.
like that.
But it doesn't matter. Like you're gonna get have somebody on the internet arguing about this. Like first off, I'm like everyone. I think it was wrong with WWE letting her go like that. I believe it should have been a suspension. I mean, I'm okay with her dropping the title, but making her lose her job over that is so chaotic and so unprofessional of them. She should at least just got a suspension, like a 30-day or even a 60-day suspension. I would have understand that would happening, not her getting released. And then it's funny of how many times Charlotte Flair had a nip slip or a nude expression, and she got a little slap on the wrist because she's a Flair. And then people brought up, oh, well, what about her little nude photo session with what was it, Sports Illustrated that Ronda
She
Rousey
did. She
did
did
too?
the. She did. There's the. They used to do the body thing where they'd have athletes pose naked, but they didn't actually show anything of it. Um, Charlotte Flair definitely was invited to do that. Many different athletes, not men and women, have been invited to do the body episode of.
Ronda Rousey was invited to do, but Ronda Rousey did that when she was in the UFC. But then they're like, oh, well, that was under contract. That's a whole nother company organization, and WWE gave the thumbs up for bringing Charlotte in for that. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like WrestleMania, the nip slip when she did the figure eight. Her whole breast was exposed and it was all over national television. She got a slap on the wrist because it was an accident.
Well, I wouldn't punish somebody for having man or woman having an accident happen in the ring. I think the issue is that they didn't like her making money on the side like this.
Yeah. They don't like anybody to have like a second job outside of WWE. And that kind of gives me the reason is that like a permanent reason why Sasha Banks is leaving WWE for good because of little shit like that, or if it has to be more.
Yeah, I think a lot of these people realize they can, it sounds like Mandy Rose was making, which is crazy to think because I know we talked about this with the four families in a group chat, but she was making pretty good money with WWE. She was not on an NXT contract because she'd been on the main roster for a very long time. She went to NXT to rejuvenate her career. If
I
she's
don't
making more money off that website than she's making in WWE, that's crazy.
well, someone said on Twitter that she was making double or triple the money on what was it? Only not OnlyFans or whatever else they got where
Whatever the
you
site is, yeah.
whatever the site is, she was making double or triple than what she was making in WWE.
Yeah, and I think we Googled her. I think she was making $1 million with a WWE, which could be very, very off. That could have been her full net worth with this website. I don't know, because $1 million seems a lot for. There's people that
It
probably
would
sell
seem a
more
lot.
merchandise.
It would seem a lot for me.
Yeah, because there's people that probably sell more merchandise than she does. But honestly, my prediction is she will be back with the company at some point. But I think as long as she has that website, she will not be. I think Tony Khan might be a little more understanding to that if she wanted to work in AEW.
I don't know. I just with all the support she's getting right now, I can see her going back to WWE instead of going to Tony Khan and AEW.
But if she, I mean, my only thing is if she goes to AEW, she could do her website because I think Tony Khan will be like, this is going to put eyes on our product. I don't care. I don't think Tony Khan cares anymore if it's negative or positive. If
Yeah.
people are watching, he's in.
They're trying to turn it into like the Monday Night Wars again when WWE don't want to make a competition. It's NXT that wants to make competition, and they're trying to put a fire they can't put out. Like you really want to go that far? Because in my opinion, and I love AEW, but if you want to relive them glory days of the Monday Night Wars, you do not have a chance. WWE has quadruple the amount of money you guys have right now.
It's not the
Or
'90s anymore.
yeah, let's just enjoy it and move forward. Yeah, those were good times. I just want to enjoy wrestling, move forward, and want to be able to like more than one promotion instead of turning this into a civil war. Like, oh, you like AEW, you can't be friends with me because I'm WWE. I'm Team WWE. You're Team AEW. We can't talk. I can't. I don't want to live that kind of bullshit life.
No, and if someone's not paying me, then I'm not, getting into arguments over who's. I'll do it. I'll do it to shoot the shit in situations like on a podcast or whatever. But I really could care less. I'm gonna enjoy both companies.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have days where like, oh, WWE was more entertaining to me this week than AEW, and then another week I might say, oh, well, Dynamite was more interesting for me this week than Raw or SmackDown. Like once WWE started picking up, AEW kind of went down for me, but now they're starting to pick back up, and I'm starting to enjoy everything, especially NXT. Like I could not take this NXT 2.0 thing, but now that they dropped the 2.0 name and just call it NXT, I'm now watching it every Tuesday night. But if Mandy goes to AEW, so be it. It's just another way of Tony Khan to try and get eyes on his product. But I just don't. I'm just tired of hearing people say, "Oh, if they're getting released by WWE, they're going to go to AEW." No, I think AEW just kind of needs to lay off signing former WWE talent. Go hire some talent, and they got amazing talent across the country in MLW, GCW, hell, even New Japan. Get some of them guys. Give WWE a break.
No, I agree. But I think with the controversy behind this, she's gonna draw a rating at least for a little while. If she did go to AEW, but she has a main roster contract. It's gonna take a little bit more time. Want to talk about this? I got an old school picture of the game Triple H. He's now
Oh yeah,
running
classic.
run, Nashua's own from my hometown. Triple H is now running the day to day of WWE, as people have known since July. Vince McMahon's not there. Vince McMahon had released quite a few people over the years, and Triple H is starting to bring a lot of people back that he enjoyed. But now it's being reported that he's underwhelmed by quite a few of the talents that he's brought back. How do you feel about a lot? I mean, the list goes on. Hit Hit Row, Johnny Gargano, Killer Cross, um,
Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt. Oh my goodness, it's a long list. He's brought a lot of people. Dexter Loomis. How do you think? Is there anybody that stood out to you that's really done really well? And there's or do you feel like Triple H is right? A lot of these people have underperformed. Braun Strowman, another one. If Triple H really feels this way, is what we're
Well,
hearing.
let's see. I'm just glad he's running and has full control instead of Vince McMahon. And whatever was going on Twitter, oh, Vince McMahon could potentially come back. No, no, no. Leave him out of this. I am through with Vince. If he comes back, I will probably be on the AEW bandwagon again and have less interest in loving talking WWE, which I still watch it every week. I think it's gotten a lot better without Vince and the problem and allegations he's going through right now. But I think Triple H is doing a damn amazing good job running control and creative and everything. And I was very happy with some of those people that he brought back that Vince cut, like the big one being Bray Wyatt. But people are like, oh, but Bray Wyatt hadn't had a match yet. They're underusing him. Like it, it's work. It let it trust the process. Bray's going to be big again. But of everyone he brought back, and I know he brought a lot of people back, if I can just make a few names of who he brought back that I'm enjoying so much. On the women's side, I'm definitely enjoying this Damage Control faction. I love that they got Dakota Kai back and Io Sky teaming up with Bailey. I'm loving that faction, even though a lot of people are kind of like itching about it right now because they've been on a losing streak lately.
I've never
Bray
had an issue
Wyatt,
with them. Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Bray Wyatt being him being back. I mean, I don't care if he's not wrestling yet. I'm enjoying his promos he's doing in this little feud with LA Knight. I will also say Johnny Gargano. I loved him so much in NXT, but he didn't get released. I think he just took
No,
time off. He took time off
the rumor is though that he saw the writing on the wall because a
that he
lot
was
of people were leaving at that point or getting released, and I think he was having a baby though, so I mean that could have been. And I'm sure him and Candice LeRae have enough money where they can take some time off. Um,
the
but
Dexter
yes,
Loomis stuff. Yeah, I think that is the stuff going on with the Miz. I enjoyed that storyline. He only had like 2 matches since he came back, but I've enjoyed seeing him on my TV. Um, let's see who else. Oh, well, Carrie. If I have to say only one that kind of underperformed, that's another one that's kind of like working his way up slowly. Is Karrion Cross. Yeah, he was a badass in NXT, and he got released. But when he got to the main roster, kind of had a slow start when they brought him back as the actual gimmick he had in NXT. But let him slowly working his way up. Give him a bit of time, and then he's going to be a big top star. I could see him being a potential breakout star in 2023. And like some of the other names you mentioned, like Hit Row, I've barely been watching them lately, but I mean, I might have to eventually watch them. And they brought Selena Vega back, and she's running. I heard everyone talking how amazing she is being with Legado del Fantasma, and I've enjoyed that lately. Oh, let's see. I know I'm trying to think of some other names, and it's sad I can't think some of them like other returns he brought in the last few months.
it's been so many. It's hard to almost keep track of. Like, oh, he
May,
brought back oh my god, Emma.
I haven't really been watching. See, after just getting done with high school football season recently, I barely been watching SmackDown, and I'm pretty sure that's where she's been on. Just like Hit Row, like I haven't really kept up with those guys either, unless if they like popped up on Raw. Um, trying to think who else. I'm trying to think who else they re-signed. Because like just about nearly everyone they brought back, I was like, finally. Well, Braun Strowman. Okay, Braun Strowman, another kind of underwhelming one. I'll say. Like I'm kind of shocked he's not going after Roman Reigns lately. They got him doing God knows what, and I'm just glad they brought the LA Knight character back, not the
Oh yes,
Maxwell male
yes,
models or whatever. I
yeah.
hated that. No, I'm glad they brought him back as LA Knight.
The creative has overall been better. I'm not sure. It's really it, when you talk about Vince McMahon, you have to talk about the hits and misses, and we could
Oh
probably do
yeah,
a whole episode
I
of
have
that.
one. I just have one thing to say about that. I forgot to mention. We were talking about the people they rehired and everything. Let's talk about some people that actually got their names back. Like it's not Theory no more. It's Austin Theory. Um,
I appreciate that. People have first and last names, you know.
Champa went back to Tommaso Champa. Max went back to LA Knight.
Matt Riddle has Matt back.
Riddle is Matt Riddle again. Seth being Seth freaking Rollins. I mean, I don't care for it now. I mean, I'm fine with it now, but I mean, I don't. I just say Seth Rollins. But if I'm really happy to see him, I'm gonna say Seth freaking Rollins. Oh God, what else? I know there were the only one like Gunther not going back to Walter, but it's like you know what? I don't care anymore. Let him just be Gunther. I'm
That's a copyright issue. They want the rights to somebody if they leave that, you know. they still own what their name was. He owns the rights to Walter, to my understanding.
Well, they tried to change Mia Yim's name, and then that backfired, and now she's back as Mia Yim again.
Well, they're still using that name, but it's whatever it is, Mia Yim. So she has like a almost like a nickname, is what
Is
I
it
thought.
Mitchin or something like
It's
that?
I forget what it is. I forget what it means in Korean. But it's just like an added name, and I don't know if it's that necessary.
Now Raquel, I don't know if they're gonna bring her back as Raquel Gonzalez or she's still gonna stay as Raquel Rodriguez. I didn't find that a problem, but God, I know there were other names that they changed, and I'm like, nope, nope, nope.
Yeah, I don't think you don't need to just have a last name to be your name. The one that really it ever worked with was Goldberg. Um, a lot
I
of
can say
time.
two. When he was in WWE, I rathered him just be Cesaro than Antonio Cesaro.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with that, and I didn't have a problem with just Rusev either.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
Just Rusev, not Alexander Rusev, just Rusev.
but Matt Riddle being just Riddle didn't make any sense.
Yeah,
Champa
I
just
know.
being Champa didn't
Yeah,
make a lot of sense.
Riddle. I said this a long time ago. I said Riddle was just one letter away from being a Batman villain.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't disagree with that. I got to ask this next one. Ring of Honor. A lot of people have been very curious to what Tony Khan is actually doing with this. They just had their final battle pay per view, um, but they are really under the AEW branch. No TV contract. What are your thoughts on it? It's going to be now the Honor going back to the Honor Club. So if you want to watch weekly Ring of Honor content, you're going to have to pay for that. Not part of your cable network. I think you might get the pay per views too. What do you think? Did Tony Khan really have any business buying this with no plan?
I don't think he really had the intention. I think he just did it to kind of get at WWE, be like, oh, I'm going to run two companies now. You guys are just running one. But I mean, he hasn't did a lot what I thought he was going to do. I was waiting for this new TV deal they were getting, and now they're bringing back the Honor Club, which was a thing before the WWE Network was a thing. I mean, seeing the people complain about it, like, oh, I'm already paying $5 a month on Peacock for WWE Network, and and I'm pretty sure there's people that are paying that fee for Impact. What is it, like the Global Force app or something?
I know they have something. I'm just not interested in it. Nothing against Impact. It's just nothing's really been great in the last couple of years.
I
Decent,
mean,
you know.
I'm gonna look into it. I mean, if he actually puts something into this, like can make it a thing, like I feel like I'm at the point where with AEW, I don't really watch Rampage anymore now because when I attended my very first Rampage, I went to my third Dynamite, but this was the first Dynamite I went to that had a Rampage with it. And I never saw the arena clear out so fast before that first match happened on Rampage.
It's a long
And
night.
it was, yeah, I didn't even, I think I left after the second match. I'm like, this is the hype of Rampage. I'm like, then I got to the point like, I don't even care for it. Turn that into Ring of Honor. Let Ring of Honor make it a 1 hour, 2 hour show for I care, and I'll watch it every week. But now that they're doing this Honor Club thing, which to me is like another version of the WWE Network, if it comes with the pay-per-views, like if I don't have to go call my direct TV and pay $40 to watch a pay-per-view on Ring of Honor, I'll pay that $10 subscription for the Honor Club. Because that's what I'm doing with WWE Network since 2000, for almost 10 years now. Well, it'll be 9 years come February of 2023 since the network was launched, and then they moved to
Oh,
Peacock.
I can't believe that's been 10 years. Wow.
2014 the network launched,
Yeah,
but
or 9 years. Yeah, that's crazy.
and then it was last year 2021 they moved to Peacock. I think it was 2020 or 2021 they moved to Peacock.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you on this. I mean, it depends on what it's worth. I was never like a huge Ring of Honor person. I more or less started to like Ring of Honor more when they had the Bullet Club and they had Cody Rhodes, they had the Young Bucks.
I
Shout out
wasn't
to Brian
yeah,
Malonis from Manchester, New Hampshire, who wrestled there too. I wanted to see him wrestle, but Ring of Honor's never been a big thing for me.
same for me either. I mean, uh if you're talking about around the 2010s mainly, I was mainly a WWE guy. You could kind of throw in TNA. I would occasionally watch TNA. At times, like when they had their TV deal on Spike, I was watching it every Thursday.
Same. Yep.
Or if it was on even for the 6 months they were on Monday, I would flip back and forth like I was watching Nitro and Raw the same night. But see, for Ring of Honor around that time, I probably came across it on cable or satellite television. Maybe like a late Friday night or Saturday night. I came across it.
They've
I
never had
might
a legit TV deal ever, so I don't know why
never.
Tony Khan ever thought that they were actually going to get one.
Yeah, he did what he could. But I will say I gave him a chance because I remember coming home. We got done playing in the state championship tournament. We got done playing in the semifinals and we lost. And I was driving home and I was literally watching Dynamite on my phone. It was sitting on my mantle in my vehicle. I was driving 2.5, 3 hours back home from falling in the state tournament. And that's when he made the announcement. That was the same night he made the announcement that he purchased Ring of Honor. When he said that, I gave him a shot. I was so excited because I was like, I'm enjoying what he's doing in AEW. Can you imagine him bringing Ring of Honor back to life after they missed the first quarter of the year with that 3-month, 4-month hiatus they had? The day he made that announcement, that's when I purchased my ticket for Super Card of Honor because I was already going to be in Dallas for WrestleMania. And I was like, I'm going to my first Ring of Honor show. I got to check this out. And I loved it. It was awesome. I think he can do better. He's been it's got to be hard to run technically two wrestling companies, run an NFL team that sucks so bad, and then you also have a soccer team in Europe your dad owns in the Premier League.
I'm gonna see what they can do. They're gonna be running out. It sounds like from what I'm hearing, they're gonna do what they do with Dark. They're gonna run out of Universal Studios. Not a bad idea to just run a weekly show and then hopefully people want to pay to see it. I gotta ask this though. This has been a controversy between you and I on Facebook now for a little while. Can
You
you
want to?
defend? Can you defend this man, Brian Kelly? Can you defend the dancing? We just want to
Oh.
know this.
All right, so I will answer your question on the dancing part. I don't think he had no business doing what he was doing. I think he was just doing it for his excitement to try and encourage people to come to LSU. Like, I don't Coach Ed Ogeron wouldn't have done that. Les Miles wouldn't have did that. Nick Saban, when we had him, wouldn't even do. Satan himself wouldn't have did that. That was a little overboard there. I was like, come on, Brian Kelly. You ain't gonna win us a championship dancing and wanting to gritty and all that. Come on, man. And I will say, you did this to me for the last 2 weeks. I could say happy birthday to somebody, or I could say, oh my godchild just walked for the first time. You're gonna comment the gif of Brian Kelly dancing and posing. You blew that up more than the whole shopping cart nonsense. And I gotta ask you this. Dylan and I wanted to know about this. What's your deal with shopping carts?
Oh, it's pretty simple. Put it back. We're starting now. You may have heard of the Cartnarks. We are at Let Freedom Ring a big supporter of the Cartnarks, who
Okay.
shame people for not putting back their carts. Now, do I always agree with Agent Sebastian's tactics? Maybe not, but we're starting. There's a revolution going on in this country, and it is put the damn carts back and be a decent human being. And you know, I when you see a cart in a handicap spot, that's like, wow, can you believe that? Or do you want a cart to hit your car because someone didn't put it back? That's really the message behind it, and the revolution has begun. I mean, it's picking up steam. People are loving this.
I think what made me laugh the most was like the day I went did my Black Friday shopping. You kept posting random like 3 times a day that night. You posted like a shopping cart sitting in the middle of the grass or sitting in the middle of a dead parking lot, and I'm like, I sent you that video. Like I just got done unloading my cart, putting everything in my truck, and I sent you that video. I just pushed the cart away, but I got bashed by a woman that in New Hampshire. I don't remember who she was. She
People
bashed
were
me,
upset. People
but
were upset. Yeah.
what people don't know was if you look closely in the far corner, this was at a Walmart parking lot, by the way. This was happened at a Walmart. There was a guy in the far corner. I was wheeling it to him, but I cropped him out of the video. The original
Ah,
video, I said, "Hey, I'm gonna video like I'm pushing a cart away." But I'm pushing because he had his long train of carts. He was going to put them back in the stall. I said, "Look, I'm going to wheel it to you, but I'm going to crop you out and make you look like I'm leaving it in the parking lot as a
yeah.
joke." And the great people of New Hampshire thought I really left a cart out, and they bashed me.
There were some, yeah, people were offended. I mean, obviously, I think most people that I know do put them back. And there's just times though, it's like it's kind of crazy. Like we have Market Basket here in New Hampshire, which
Oh
is like
yeah, here too.
the
We got one here
yeah.
too.
Oh, you have Market Basket in Louisiana. That's all, okay. I didn't know that.
Well,
Um,
I don't
because
know
the
where
New
they're
England
based
base,
out of, or where they
they're New
based out
England,
of.
New
They
England.
are, because I
Oh yeah, you
know.
should.
I'm sorry.
The two cousins were fighting back in 2014, and all the workers went on strike, and all hell broke loose around here because Market Basket's where everybody wants to go. We have
Wow.
Shaw's, we have Hannaford, but if Market Basket shuts down, people lose their shit. Um, my only point to that was that I hate seeing a 16-year-old kid, his first job, it gets cold around here, having to walk around a parking lot when it's 10 degrees out, trying to get carts when people could just wheel them back.
Not
But
only that, it could be hot as hell too. Like down here, it could be
yeah,
100 degrees, and they're wheeling carts and everything.
yeah. So that's just our thing. But I think the cart narcs really have something on that, and obviously people troll back and are kidding. I know a lot of people that do those posts are putting them back, but there are people that aren't, and it asks the question of why is this happening?
Yeah. Well, it was funny because like I didn't know nothing about it, and Dylan was like, "Man, Dan must really hate shopping carts." And then that's when I noticed everything. I'm like, maybe he just don't like them being out. But I'm like, I'm gonna get to the bottom of it and find out. And then I was like, yeah, I mean, I could be like that too. I mean, I wouldn't want to back into a cart that's like sitting in the middle of the parking lot and scratch my vehicle up or anything like that.
It's
Yeah,
just
I mean,
awkward that yeah, it's awkward that they're all around, you know what I mean? And I'm mostly joking, but I mean, I think it's a good thing to talk about. And I think the Cartnarks have brought that to the forefront. I don't agree with all their tactics. I don't think you have to trigger people. I do think that sometimes the line is a little crossed there.
shockingly, I didn't think y'all would have heard of Market Basket. I thought that was a Southern thing.
No, Market Basket that's a New Hampshire, not New Hampshire, but a New England based company. We've always
Now,
had.
now Walmart is based out of Arkansas.
Yeah, and
They
that yeah.
because we got down here. Well, not my hometown. We just have a Market Basket and a Spring Market, and a dollar. I think every town has a Dollar General,
Oh yeah.
but outside of my town, we have Walmarts, we have Albertsons, we have Kroger's, we have Costco's.
Okay.
The closest Costco to me is probably Lafayette.
I don't go to much Costco. Yeah, we have all kinds of stuff, here, but obviously Target, Walmart, and whatever
Yeah, we
grocery
have
store
Target too. Target, yeah, I said Albertsons too. Yeah,
But I just want to ask one other before we move on because I have some other sports related questions. Uh, can you defend Brian Kelly is from New England? Can you defend his Southern accent when he first went to LSU?
I don't think
His
he has
fake
a
Southern
Southern.
accent.
Oh man, yeah, he needs to work on that. If he can at least pronounce some of these town names correctly, I'll give him a pass.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't talk like that again.
He's not a bad coach. I rag on him. I didn't like the way he left Notre Dame. I've loved Notre Dame since I was a young child.
I'll
Obviously
tell you the
being,
truth though. I think yeah, it was November 30th of last year when they made the announcement he was coming here. That it was 50-50. Well, I was excited because I was like, oh my God, we do have a good coach coming. Yeah. He may not has the best record under the big lights. Yeah, he lost twice. He got blown out in the playoffs twice. Yeah, he got blown out in a national championship, but he knows how to win. He knows how to win big games and stuff. And yeah, there were some people that were not happy about it because there's a lot of people down here that despise Notre Dame, and they have a lot of
oh,
Catholics down here. They're
Notre
Catholics, but they hate Notre Dame because they think they're overrated.
Well, I think the problem with Notre Dame too is that they do hold their football players to a very high academic standard. And I'm not saying that other colleges don't, but we know that's like with Notre Dame. And hopefully one day they can get back to it. I've just always loved them since I was a kid. The
Whoa.
first thing I've ever identified as, I always was Irish, but I'm very I'm very French Canadian too, more French Canadian I guess. But that's why I love the Irish since I was a kid.
I mean, I've had a love hate relationship with them. Like, I'll occasionally root for them in big games or something because I'm Catholic too. Like, oh, like when they played when they got blown out by Alabama in that national championship game, I was the biggest part time Notre Dame fan for one night,
I
which
never thought we were gonna win. I didn't think we'd get blown out like that.
I thought they would have had a chance. With those years they went to the playoffs, yeah, when they played Clemson, I'm like, no, they're not going to beat Clemson. When they played Alabama, and that was supposed to be the Rose Bowl, and I was like, they're not beating Alabama either. And as much as I hate Alabama, I didn't think it was going to be a chance. And then I think another reason why people hate them so much is the whole independent thing. Like in
I
football,
don't like that.
they're independent, but they're in a conference in basketball. They're in the ACC in basketball and baseball and softball and other sports. Uh, oh shit. Uh, Other sports like outside of football, lacrosse, they're probably in another conference in lacrosse,
I
unless the
enjoyed
ACC.
the I really enjoyed the year that they, in 2020 when they were part of the ACC. I thought that was great. And I would like to see them in a conference too as a fan. Shout out Justin Del Rio, Nerds of Wrestling, checking in here. We love you, Justin. Um,
I was told a thing that in order for Notre Dame to remain their contract with ACC, like in basketball and stuff, they have to play a minimum of 5 ACC games in football every season.
I, honestly, I would love them to join a conference. So I'm not against that, and I understand people's frustrations there. So I totally get that. I do want to talk some other controversial things with you. You're a
Okay.
big Houston Astros fan. They just won the World Series again.
Yep.
Uh, is the stigma up of them being cheaters?
This recent championship, no. Everyone saw how actually dominant they were in this recent one, but they're still going to bring up the fact from 5 years ago. Like they got some chaotic people that say, "Oh, this should be their only championship. They need to give that 2017 one back to the Dodge, give it to the Dodgers. Yeah, give them two asterisk championships because that COVID season was a fluke." But I will tell you this: everybody cheats in baseball. We just got caught and admitted we did it. And I will say this too: the Red Sox cheated too against the Dodgers the following year, but they never got caught. Or if they did get caught, they got a different type of punishment. I know,
Well, we had
but
the
then
same coach, one of the same coaches.
that's and I'm glad. What I'm about to say right now. It's a good thing you're a Sox fan because let's talk about the New York Yankees. All them championships they won. How many? 27 championships. I guarantee you they cheated 24 of them. The steroids, the being only a 10-team league in the 1930s and the 40s before they let black African Americans play baseball and it was only an all white league and all that. Like back when the Yankees won like 10 of those titles, there was only 10 teams in MLB and they always had the money to get who they wanted and all that. So when it's not the Red Sox fans that piss me off about the whole cheating thing. It's the Yankees that bitch about it. I'm sorry if I cuss on your show,
No, you're good.
but
You're good. We're on the live stream. We're not on the Merrimack TV. So
they want to complain about cheating. They were known for cheating. They buy all their shit. And the Dodgers can go fuck themselves. I'm sick. I'm just sick of those two fan bases the most. The Dodgers whine about everything. And fuck Kelly too. The only Kelly I hate is their pitcher for the. I don't even think he's with the Dodgers anymore.
yeah, no, I mean, definitely I mean, you could say a lot of things though as sports, like, as a Celtics fan, you could also say to us there wasn't that many teams in the league when we were winning championships. I think that's tough. I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for sure that
I
in the
don't consider the
90s,
Celtics cheaters. No, y'all just
not
had
cheaters, but if you want to say there wasn't enough teams in the league to be like, well, look at it
y-
now.
y'all had a
You know.
dynasty back in the day. The Larry Bird. I mean, you could probably name more legends and Hall of Famers and retired jerseys from Boston outside of Larry Bird. Y'all
Yeah,
had a
no,
dynasty back in them days.
no, we had and Bill Russell won. I can't even. I don't know it off the top of my head. If anybody wants to comment, Bill Russell won a lot of those titles for the Celtics. But I have to say, do have an Astros story because I don't think I ever told you this of why I referred to the Astro fans as the nerds. Have I ever brought this up to you?
I'd rather be called a nerd than a cheater, but go ahead.
So back in 2015, we went to the Hall of Fame induction for Pedro Martinez. It was also the weekend for Craig Biggio, and
I love Curry.
I had just purchased a picture somewhere in the background of Pedro throwing down Grady Little. If people remember that from 2003, I think I purchased this for about $5 off a vendor, right, which was so cool. And an Astro fan, he had the pulled up shorts, he had the long socks, very mustache, not looking. He's looking kind of nerdy, and for whatever reason, we had used that word earlier in the day. And he came up and started telling me why Pedro was the one that was wrong in that instance. I still disagree with that. Pedro was not wrong. Grady Little charged him, and all he did was grab him by the head and throw him down. Whatever. So this guy starts running his mouth to me the whole weekend. Astro fans, because I think Biggio was the first Hall of Famer you guys had, correct?
Uh,
I think he is actually the first, or
he
winning. I know
he
Nolan
might have been.
Ryan, but he's the
Yeah,
first
no,
Astro with the hat.
actually,
Yeah.
I think he was the second because two we have about we have like 12, 13. Are you talking about MLB Hall of Fame or just Astros Hall of Fame?
No, Cooperstown, Major League Baseball. I'm
Oh,
saying
I
you're.
think. Oh, okay. I think Craig's the only one,
So
but I will. Go ahead.
he
I'm
went
sorry.
in. He went in as an Astro. Yeah.
Yeah, Craig's the only one to go from the Astros, but I will. Actually, no. There's
Did
another.
Bagwell get in?
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
two of the greatest Astros of all time came from New England. Jeff Bagwell and Craig Biggio. Yeah, Bagwell went in 2017. I just looked it up, but Biggio went first. Biggio went, I think, in 2013
15.
or
15. I was
15.
there. I was there for his speech and everything.
15, and then 2 years later, Jeff Bagwell went. But I think they're the Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan didn't go in yet. I think he's going in this year.
No, Nolan Ryan went in 1999.
Oh, so he already went. Oh,
But he wasn't.
yeah,
He didn't go in as an Astro. I forget what team he
he
went
went
in
as a
with.
Ranger. He went in as a
That would make.
Ranger.
Yeah. But
They
they were jacked up. And it was kind of like Red Sox fans. We Red Sox were playing the Astros that week. It was like great Hall of Fame weekend. If you can ever get to Cooperstown for Hall of Fame weekend, like I couldn't recommend this anymore. We might even go back this year just because Fred McGriff is getting in. We always had in my family. We've always had a soft spot for the Braves. Going back to my grandmother being a Boston Braves fan. But the moral of the story is, every time we argued with the Astros fans, we called them nerds, and we've kind of stuck to that. So.
So there is a like quite a big list of Astro players that are in. I think it says the first Astro to go into Cooperstown was Robin Roberts in 1976.
Did he go in as an Astro though?
He went in as an Astro. It
Okay.
was Robin Roberts, then Eddie Matthews, Joe Morgan, Leo DeRocher, Nellie Fox, Don Sutton, Nolan Ryan, Craig Biggio, Randy Johnson, and Jeff Bagwell. And then Ivan Rodriguez was the last one to go as an Astro,
See,
but he went in with Jeff.
I'm wondering if that Bijo was like the first, because obviously, what was uh what was one of those? He went in as a red, and now I'm already blanking. Joe, he was on Baseball Tonight. He went as a Cincinnati Red, but yeah, I feel like Biggio was like their first like homegrown all the way career. I'm not gonna lie, Pedro Martinez was going into the Hall of Fame, but it was more Astro fans than anyone that weekend. And Pedro was the main event. He was the last one to speak. It was definitely the best class I ever saw live. I've gone to a lot of Hall of Fame inductions because you had Biggio, Smoltz, Johnson, Pedro. That's crazy. Um, but I want to ask this to you too. I know we're going a little long tonight. Whatever, we're on the live stream. We can go a little bit longer. Um, what are some of your favorite sports moments?
Well, before I say that, I will say if I have to guess the next Astro to go into Cooperstown, I'm gonna probably say like Billy Wagner or something.
Okay.
Maybe Jeff Cann or Roger Clemens. But Hell, I wouldn't even mind Lance Berkman, but I don't even, he went in the Astros Hall of Fame, but they don't really talk about Lance Berkman. I know he was one of the killer bees with Biggio and Bagwell, but you don't hear a lot about Lance Berkman too much. I know he's coaching college baseball now, but no, if I have to guess another Astro to go into Cooperstown, I'm going to say Billy Wagner because he's been eligible since 2016, and it's sad he didn't even go in yet.
I will just say this: when I think of the Houston Astros from my lifetime, it's Biggio and Bagwell are the first two players that come to mind.
Yep. If you're not talking about like Nolan Ryan, but he's always getting known for being a
He was
Texas
on
Ranger.
so many. He was on so many teams. Bagwell and Biggio were your guys. Those were your guys. They never. I don't believe they ever played. Bagwell was drafted by the Red Sox, but spent all his time in Houston. So I really don't have much hate for the Astros. I like to troll a little bit, but just Marks, want to know this? Your favorite sports moments that you have?
I got one. I'll say one for each team. So
Okay.
I got Astros, Saints. I'll even maybe I'll throw in the Pelicans too. LSU, that's going to be a tough one to decide there. So I mean, I'll start one at a time. I'll even let you pick the team first.
Yeah, I'd love to hear LSU first. And if it's getting Brian Kelly as a coach, I'm going to shut this off right now.
Oh no. Definitely not that one. I got way better memories than that. I will have to say it's going to be. I've done it 3 times, but it's going to be one of the times I've rushed the field. So the very first time I ever rushed the field was 2018, where we upsetted number 2 Georgia back when they still had Jake Fromm at quarterback and everything, and we went in that game like number 14 or something, and we upsetted the Georgia Bulldogs. That was my first time ever rushing a field.
That would be cool. I've never done that.
Now, yeah, we beat Alabama. Brian Kelly's first year as a head coach, we beat Alabama in overtime with the winning 2-point conversion. That was my first time ever being there to see them beat Alabama. I've seen LSU and Alabama 3 times. The very first time was in 2008, Saban's second year in Alabama, but the first time going to Baton Rouge, I went that game where Bama won in overtime. I went again in 2014 that Bama won in overtime. And the third time's the charm. I go LSU, Alabama. What happens? They go into overtime. All 3 times I went, they went into overtime. But can I just tell you, be honest with you, what I was going through when they went in overtime? Okay, Bama scored first. Bama got the ball back and scored first. They kick a field goal. We get the ball. The first play of the game, the first play in possession, they score. Jay Daniels scores a touchdown, and we were like, "Oh my God, did that just happen?" And I'm like, I see the kicker's not on the field. I'm like getting furious. Like, what the fuck is Brian Kelly doing? Why are we going for 2? If we don't get this, it's over. We lose. It turns out that was the smartest move he did. He
He's
went
not a
for 2.
horrible coach. I just like to make fun of him because he
He
left the
went
way he
for
did.
2, and just out of nowhere, like this happened on the whole other side where I was. I said my season tickets are in the north end zone. This happened in the south end zone.
Oh, damn, you
So
have
like
season tickets. Okay.
I was freaking out. I was holding my head like this, moving back and forth, and I'm waiting to see the reaction from the opposite side. I saw Mason Taylor caught it, but I'm like, did they stop him? Did they push him out of bounds? As soon as he caught it, not even at the blink of an eye, the rumble. When I heard that rumble, I'm like, he got the 2-point conversion. It's over. We beat Alabama. Not even 2 seconds, the whole field just stormed. And I was jumped along with it. You could not even see grass. And they had the blimp shots on national television, like damn near the entire stadium was on the field. One of the I've seen so many great. I've been over 40 games in Tiger Stadium in the last 20 years. That had to out top everything I've seen in the last 20 years. That even out topped our dominant performance against the Florida Gators in 2019 with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and company. That was the greatest game I ever saw until that Alabama game in overtime.
Oh,
So that's
nice.
that's that's the LSU side.
The Charlotte Hornets. I mean the Pelicans.
That's gonna be short and sweet. I haven't been to a lot of Pels games. The last Pels game I went to was 2016 when we still had Anthony Davis playing for us and everything, and Drew Holiday and company. Uh, December of 2014, I saw the Pelicans beat LeBron James in person when he was with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I still have a New Orleans Hornets hat somewhere here because I bought it specifically at Olympia Sports because I was like, they're not going to be the Hornets much longer, and it's kind of weird that the Hornets are in New Orleans at this time.
Yeah, and that was a good thing they brought him back to Charlotte. The Charlotte Hornets sounded 10 times better. And by the way,
And it makes
every
yeah,
moment I'm telling you is something I witnessed. Like I'm not gonna say, oh, LSU winning a national championship or the Saints winning the Super Bowl. Anybody could say that. I'm talking about like I was there and lived it.
sure. Is there anything with the Astros that you've seen that you were like,
Absolutely. Recently this last season, I only went to 2 games this season because with work wise, it's hard to try and go. If I want to go to a game, I have to go on a weekend. But I finally got to go to a Friday night game, do a Friday night firework game where after every home game on Friday nights, win or lose, they open the roof, or if it's already open, they pop amazing fireworks show. That's some tradition they've been doing since Minute Maid Park opened in 2000. Well, I went to watch them play the Chicago White Sox, and I finally went to a game where they got to wear the orange uniforms. They usually wear orange on Friday nights. I finally got to see them wear them orange uniforms, and I did not expect them to play the way they did against them. They won the game. They won the game 13-3. They had I saw 7 home runs out the park in one game. In the bottom of the 6th was the greatest inning ever. They scored 10 runs in the 6th inning. And I've seen Alex Bregman, Jordan Alvarez, Yuli Gurriel, Josh McCormick, all the no, not McCormick, Josh Reddick, McCormick, all of them all hit home runs out the park. I'm talking about not off the wall where they no into the crowd, and of course Jose Altuve as well, and Carlos Correa's gone. No, he wasn't in that game, and I finally got to see Mancini play. I like Trey Mancini. I liked him in Baltimore, and then when we picked him up, I got to see him play as well, and it was awesome seeing him play. So a
anything
13-3 win over the White Sox.
nice? Anything stand out with the Saints?
So that's another team I've not watched a lot. This one I can't decide. I'm gonna have to let you be the judge on this one. So I
You
have
guys like
two.
college more than pro down there, I believe, right? Am I wrong on that?
I mean, New Orleans loves everything. New Orleans loves their
Okay.
team. The same. I'm more of a college guy. I feel like
Okay.
college is more electric, where the NFL it's more about money. But because like we're that type where like we're getting more hype for LSU than the Saints because we know how the Saints have been in the past. They with the paper bags and being called the Aints and stuff. And LSU had more winning seasons than the Saints have. And the Saints only has one Super Bowl where LSU got 4 national championships. So yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with the Saints. Like right now, we suck ass, and I really don't care for them right now. But I will
Give
still
Ian Book
watch
a
them.
chance. He's still there?
Well, Dennis Allen is the problem. Dennis Allen
Yeah.
and his whole coaching staff, they need to go. Andy Dalton is not the answer. He's got to go. Why is Jameis Winston not playing? And the defense is just not being as they were supposed to be the number one defense when they signed Tyrann Matthews and all them. And the good people they drafted too, like Alontae Taylor and all them. We had Chris Olave, I think should be rookie of the year, but it's not looking good for him either. But I will say, I will let you decide this one here. So I have 2 good Saints moments here that I was a part of. The day after Christmas in 2011, I was there when Drew Brees broke Dan Marino's record,
Okay.
and they beat the hell out of the Atlanta Falcons, which is the Saints' biggest rival. Okay, who's New England's biggest rival? Is it the Miami Dolphins or is it the New York Jets? I figured the Jets and the Bills were the big rival because it's the Battle of New York.
Well, to be honest, if you want my opinion on it, how the Patriots had dominated the East for so long, The rivals really were like the Steelers and the Colts. Sometimes you'd put the Ravens in there. Now that things have calmed down here in New England and we're not winning the division easily every year, um, I don't know. You're always going to have the New York rivalry. Like New England
Boston,
is
New
always
York, yeah. Boston,
New.
New York are rivals
We're
and everything. Yeah.
we're always going to hate the Jets. Like I love watching the misery of any New York team, whether it's the Yankees. I guess I don't really hate the Mets. I don't really. I'm indifferent to the Mets.
Hmm.
But the Giants, the Jets, I love to see them lose. The Knicks, I love to see them lose. The Islanders, I'm not a big hockey guy, so I don't really care. So I guess if you were to say like I want to see the Jets lose more than anything, the Bills, I'm not. Their fan base is very difficult. I've infiltrated the Bills Mafia before. I have been in there. My buddy Jesse's a huge Bills fan. We've gone down there. I could say to the Bills Mafia, you hate us more than we hate you. You control New England. You can say whatever you want about New England. We don't care. You haven't won a Super Bowl. You went there 4 times and lost. So your hatred towards us is not reciprocated. You're not quite on that level. That's what I would say to the Bills. I'm glad they're doing good. Like I don't like I said, I don't hate the Bills. They hate us more. And same thing with I don't really have like a hatred for the Dolphins. They're just in our division. So I would say if there's a hatred, it's probably more the Jets. But obviously, I think the Steelers, Colts, and Ravens, just because of the battles we had. Now, there might be people older than I am that feel a little bit different, but we had 20 years of Tom Brady. I didn't really get into football until Drew Bledsoe was here. I was only 9 by the time Drew was drafted. So there might be fans that feel different. But I feel it's the Jets.
Okay. Yeah, see, I can understand that because of the whole Boston, New York thing, because like
Boston
Celtics,
hates
Nick.
New York. New York hates Boston.
Yeah, because the greatest rivalry in baseball is Boston, New York, Yankees, Red Sox. I mean, even though I despise both teams, I still think it's the greatest rivalry in MLB. Celtics, Knicks is a huge rivalry. I'm pretty sure the Bruins is big rivalries with the Rangers or maybe the Islanders.
Yeah, well, no. So to be quite frank, the Celtics' biggest rival is the Lakers, and that goes back to the '80s, right?
Yeah, you go back to the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar days and Magic Johnson taking on Larry Bird and company,
But you're going
and
East
Don
and
West.
West.
Yeah,
You know, what I mean,
a coastal rivalry, you could call it.
the biggest rival to the Bruins, and I'm not a huge hockey guy, is the Montreal Canadiens.
Okay.
So
So yeah, like when it comes to the Saints, yeah, their number one rivalry is the Atlanta Falcons. People say it's the biggest rivalry in the South, kind of like they say the Packers and the Bears might be the biggest rivalry in the North. They'll say the Saints and the Falcons is big in the South. But there's another team I really, really, really hate just as much as I hate more than the Falcons. But I don't just hate this team. The entire country hates this one team except one particular state. But on one Veterans Day primetime Sunday night football night in 2013, I got a bucket list checked off, and I got to add a couple more checks off to this one little game. I got to see the New Orleans Saints beat the living shit out of the Dallas Cowboys.
everybody hates the Cowboys.
So
Everybody.
if you had to pick for somebody, what would be a big moment for you? If you were in my shoes, would you think witnessing Dan Marino's record being broken by Drew Brees was a bigger moment, or the most hated team in America gets blown out by your team on
I think
Veterans Day? That because they're called America's team on prime time.
I don't know. I feel like if I was a Saints fan, I'd be so diehard Drew Brees that I'd probably pick that.
Okay.
Um, because to be honest, and there's gonna be some people that live in New Hampshire that are diehard Cowboys fans. I don't think they're relevant. Haven't thought they were relevant for a long time. Yeah, they can be good here and there until again, it's a very similar to like I know they won back in the '90s, but it's the same thing as the Bills. Until
Mm-hmm.
you've actually done something, I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Win a Super Bowl, then brag. The Eagles can brag. Okay, they won a Super Bowl, and now look where they are. Okay, these other teams like if you want to watch the Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl, go get a VHS, okay?
Yeah.
Because they ain't
Yeah.
on DVD. So, and DVDs are starting to be pushed out. So it's like,
Or go to somebody in Texas. They probably recorded it on a videotape back in that what one of them years in the 90s. But yeah, I'll go ahead and say Drew Brees breaking that record because that was a big deal. When he broke Dan Marino's record, that was a very big deal. And then Drew Brees broke tons and tons of records after that. Like he held the record for most yardages in like he passed Peyton Manning's record of the big one. And then does he still? I think he still holds it, or did Brady break that one now?
I'd have to look it up because now Brady's starting to just play until he dies and take every record possible.
I think it
Um,
was most passing yards. Like if Dylan was here, he can tell me that. And Dylan was at that game when he completed that pass and passed Peyton Manning, and then the top three the leading record in passers. It was Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, and Brett Favre. I think it was over 80,000. I think it was something like
it's got
that. Now it was one of many records he broke. Like he's the he's the record breaker.
and Drew Brees is gonna be a great coach. Now I want to get to two of my favorite segments now coming up here. First, I want to get into top fives.
Okay.
Uh, Real quick, as a wrestling fan, as a wrestling podcast caster, who are your top five favorite wrestlers of all time?
The one that inspired me the most, I would say The Rock. I was very big on him. When I started noticing WWF because of Stone Cold Steve Austin, but he's kind of the reason I started watching it. But I wasn't allowed to watch it. But the more I saw The Rock, I had to tune in every week. And then after my mom noticed The Rock, she let me watch WWF. So I will give it to The Rock. He was kind of the big inspiration on me, especially as being a WWE, WWF guy, whatever you'd like to say. But I'll even throw. I'm gonna throw John Cena in, like the old school Doctor Thugonomics John Cena. That was just the greatest thing I ever saw as a teenager. Wanted to be a white rapper at one point, so I'll throw Cena in that top five. You can't have a top five without guys like either Shawn Michaels or The Undertaker. Because that I know there's gonna be like a Civil War, like kind of like the whole Rock Austin Civil War thing. You're gonna have the Bret Hart Shawn Michaels Civil War. If I was in that war, I would be the Shawn Michaels guy. But you got to put the Undertaker on your list. I think Undertaker is one of the greatest gimmicks of all time as the Phenom, greatest intro, greatest theme music, I would say, of all time. The whole Dead Man Phenom vibe. Got to throw that in there. Uh, if I could throw a female in there, I'm gonna put a female in there. So I got one more spot left. And, I'm gonna go with Trish Stratus. I mean, she's the best, my number one female of all time.
Okay, all right. Now I want to ask this: do you have a top five moments for 2022 in wrestling?
Top five moments for 2022. Okay, I'm gonna have to throw something in from WrestleMania because I was over there, but I don't want to. I feel like I could put all five in from WrestleMania, but I don't want to. Uh, God, there would be three out of this one. You either got Cody Rhodes' return, which I was not big on Cody coming back, but now I'm slowly hopping on that bandwagon of being a Cody Rhodes fan, which I still have him coming back to win the Rumble in 2023, unless they wait for him to do it at 40 and put The Rock winning in 2023, because that was that rumor going around. But that was a great match with Seth Rollins. I will give you that. I said the best match was Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. That was the best match of that whole 2 night show, and probably one of the best female match of the year. Seeing Stone Cold wrestle one more match, I will throw that in there. When Stone Cold wrestled that match with Kevin Owens, never thought I'd say I saw Austin main event at WrestleMania in my life, especially in Texas. I will also say FTR versus the Briscoes. All three of their matches were 5-star, and I was blessed to say I was at the very first one at Super Card of Honor. And if I'm going to put one more, I'm going to put one that I was not at. I could have been at, but I did not go to. I will give you a holy shit moment. When Brock Lesnar lifted the ring up with the tractor. I've seen a ring implode. I've seen a ring get torn up. I've never seen a ring get lifted, and I'm like, he's going to kill him.
No, I enjoyed that. It was definitely something different. Now I gotta ask this one more top five. Do you have a top five favorite movies? Anything you'd suggest to the audience out there?
Oh man. Oh shoot. This is gonna be a tough one right here because there's gonna be movies I'm gonna say that's the best, but people are gonna say that movie sucked. It didn't make box office.
Doesn't matter. It's your top five. It's not anybody else's.
Oh, let's see. Well, if I'm gonna I'll have to throw a Christmas movie in there. I mean, Dylan would say Christmas Vacation. I would probably say Home Alone. Like Home Alone, I'm gonna put them both together. That's like when it comes to starting the holidays off. I'm gonna watch Home. The Home Alone's usually gonna be the first Christmas movie I'll watch every holiday season. Plus, I'm gonna watch it on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, which is usually Christmas Eve. That's when I do my Christmas Eve movie marathon. Uh, I'm gonna have to throw a Batman movie in this list as my second one, but the question is which Batman movie? I will probably say the Batman '89 with Michael Keaton.
Oh, I love that.
Because a lot of people are either going to say Batman Forever or The Dark Knight. Not me. I
See,
mean, Batman Forever
I
is amazing.
I love Batman Forever, but I can't rank that in the top. Like Dark Knight is, in my opinion, is the best. I don't think
I,
there's.
I'll say Batman '89. I'll put
Yeah.
that on there as a favorite. So you got the Home Alones, Home Alone 1 and 2 together. I'm putting them together. Then you got Batman '89. Okay. Whew. If I could throw oh shoot, I'm trying to think. I want to put a horror movie in, but I'm trying to think. It's going to be a Halloween movie, but I might put the OG Halloween '78.
There's no disagreements there. We got Michael Myers in the background at all times here.
It was either going to be out of Halloween '78 or Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers.
I enjoy that. Those are two movies I rewatch every year. I can't say I rewatch every Halloween movie during that time, but those are two that I have to watch.
Now I'm gonna have to throw a Jim Carrey movie in there. If I'm gonna do a Jim Carrey movie, I will probably say Dumb and Dumber.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just a movie I have watched countless times, and I could probably memorize every word in there. A fifth one, I'm gonna go by another actor, but he's another guy from New Hampshire, and I was a very big fan of him as a kid and as a teenager. I was a very big Adam Sandler guy.
From Manchester, yeah.
Now the question is, which movie is it gonna be? Is it gonna be Billy Madison? Is it gonna be Happy Gilmore? Is it gonna be The Waterboy? Is it gonna be Little Nicky? Is it gonna be Mr. Deeds, Big Daddy? That's my boy. Click, 51st Dates. It's not gonna be either of those. It's gonna be The Wedding Singer.
Oh, okay. I love that.
The whole '80s vibe. I like it.
No, I love The Wedding Singer. That'd be a tough one. Happy Gilmore's up there. He did so much great stuff, and it's just tough as you get older. Like people start to find you, I guess, more unfunny. But I always thought that he's still a funny guy.
I'll say one thing about him. Like I know in the last few years he's been doing movies on Netflix. I've watched before Hubie Halloween came out. I didn't like any of his movies on Netflix, but something was special about Hubie Halloween. Like a lot of people hated it. I loved it, and I added it to my list of Halloween movies I watch every spooky season with the Michael Myers movies, Casper, Nightmare Before Christmas, Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas. I watch on Halloween, not Christmas time. So I threw Hubie Halloween in there. Plus, that makes me want to go up in the Northeast. And if, of course, I want to go to Boston. I like to go see Boston and go see the birth of the the birth of America, which that's Philadelphia. But I'm talking about the American Revolution started in Boston.
Hey, we dumped tea. All right, you
Yeah,
don't
the
get a
Boston Tea
revolution without that.
Party.
Boston
But
Massacre. You don't get without that.
but
Paul Revere.
I want to go to Salem during October. It looks beautiful, and I want to go to that big old Halloween festival they do the whole month.
Oh yeah. No, no, it's sad. All the R.I.P. all the witches. I know that was a long, long time ago, but all these people that weren't witches that they killed, we apologize to you and your bloodline, I guess I would say. But I want to get into my new segment of the show, which is one of my favorites. I know we're going a little long tonight. We appreciate everybody that has been tuning into this because this has been a lot of fun. Buy or sell. We're not doing blank versus blank. We're gonna do buy or sell. I'm gonna give you something. You're tell me you're buying or you're selling.
Okay,
AEW.
sell it. Now you talking about what I would do with it, or are you talking
Yes,
about
this
Tony?
is
Oh,
totally
okay.
your opinion. So if you're
Oh,
selling, why are you selling it? Why don't you want it?
I don't. I just don't think Tony Khan got too much on his plate. If I were Tony Khan, I would sell it because I don't see how he sleeps. I still believe he does cocaine because how do you run two wrestling companies, an NFL team that sucks, and a Premier League team, all in the strength of the schedule you have 24 hours a day? Like he's probably gonna kill himself. He's gonna wear him. He's gonna kill himself working too hard. I mean, get a break. I mean, sell it to somebody that knows what they're doing. Who to sell it to? I can't answer that. I'm gonna hold my hands up for that. Don't sell it to Vince. Don't sell it to Triple H. Let them just keep running WWE. I mean, give it to sell it to Eric Bischoff for all I care. I mean, just keep it away from guys like Dave Meltzer and the Dirt Sheets and Jim Cornette and them stupid asses.
The New Orleans Pelicans.
I would buy that team absolutely. Give help Gail. I would even be. I'll be a partial owner. Gail Benson could still own the team. I'd like to be like one of those like what Tony Khan is. Like Tony Khan doesn't own the. He's an owner, but he's not the full custody owner. His dad is. Like he gets that first word, and then it would follow with Tony and then all the other owners. I want to be like what Jay Z was to the Brooklyn Nets. Like Jay Z don't fully 100% own it. I don't even know who really owns it. Yeah, I would love to own the New Orleans Pelicans. I want to be the Mark Cuban of the New Orleans Pelicans. I want to sit in the court side every home game cheering on the team I own. Every single game. Not in a suite, not in a club. I want to be courtside.
Next one. This is the New England Patriots starting quarterback. Not really like whether you're owning him, but would you keep him or not? It's buy or sell. Mac Jones.
Yeah, he played for Alabama. I've shit talked him a bit, but I think he's doing a fantastic job. I even gave him a chance when he drafted. I said, okay, the Patriots found their next Tom Brady. If anybody's going to win them their next Super Bowl, it's going to be Mac Jones. Because I've heard the stories like, oh, Patriots is dead. Tom Brady's gone. They're not going to win shit. They didn't win shit before Brady was there. I think Mac Jones will be the second quarterback to win the Patriots Super Bowl somewhere down the road. Without Bill Belichick. You think Bill Belichick could be the problem? Why they're not winning anymore? Maybe, but
I think Matt Patricia too.
y'all should get Brian Kelly after he's done with after his run at LSU. Maybe he can win the Patriots a Super Bowl.
It's funny you mentioned that. My next one is Brian Kelly. Buy or sell.
I keep him. Yeah, I mean we got to keep him. He signed a 10-year contract. His buyout probably a skyrocket. That I know LSU got all the money in the world, but that buyout would be crazy. There were some people that wanted him gone after that Tennessee loss, and then they changed their mind after they beat Alabama. So no, let's keep him from 10 years. I said give him two. I didn't think the first year we were going to be this close going back in the playoffs. I said give him 2 or 3 years. We'll be back in the playoffs and we'll be national champions. He's going to at least win one for us.
And
I'll
I
say
think that's why
one.
he went there. Is he felt like that was his easiest or his best chance to win one. Recently fired from WWE, Mandy Rose.
Bye. When I say buy, I mean rehire her back. Or I would have if I ran a wrestling company, I would buy her and hire her on the spot, make her my top female competitor. She would be my Britt Baker to AEW or my Bianca Belair or Becky Lynch of WWE.
Ring of Honor.
I'm gonna go with buy. I'll give Ring of Honor a chance. I didn't really watch it. I would rather Ring of Honor than ECW. I hated that ECW shit that WWE did in 2006.
The 49ers right now.
So no, I don't know what the hell is going on. Is Jimmy Garoppolo's out
Yeah,
now?
because my next one's gonna be interesting. Seeing how you pick this. Yes, Garoppolo is out.
Garoppolo's out, and what's Sanders is out because I did not take him off my starting lineup, and I'm like a hair of trying to win and make it back in the playoffs because I didn't sit out Debo Samuel, and he's out too. So yeah, they clinched they clinched the division already.
Yeah, I believe they did.
Oh my
Which leads me
god,
to Brock Purdy, as he's now had 2 starts. Buy or sell.
I
The
don't have.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Oh, sell. I'm not very fonded with Mr. Irrelevance.
You don't think his first two games have been good?
I think they were good. I'm not that big on him.
Okay.
I think he's doing good. It's just I'm not a fan of him. I don't really know much about him.
Carmelo Hayes, who I think I'm
By
rocking right now, man.
fuck yes. Oh, can I make a? I'm gonna turn into Paul Heyman for a bit. This is not a. It's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. Carmelo Hayes is going to be the one to dethrone the title off of Braun Breaker, and then he'll get called up. Stand and deliver. Not Vengeance Day. Stand and deliver in LA. Carmelo Hayes is going to win the NXT Championship from Braun Breaker, and then Braun's going to the main roster.
I'd love to see that. We all love Carmelo Hayes around here. Christian Casanova, big mainstay of New England independent wrestling. Awesome to see what he's doing.
And
Another, yeah, go ahead.
one of my favorite entrances in NXT. I don't know if he still does it, but like one show I watched, it's like he was on a bench, like a starting lineup for basketball, and there was 5 chairs, and he was in the dead middle, like he was getting introduced on the starting lineup of a basketball team. That was the coolest entrant, and he had Trick Williams do the announcing.
And Trick's doing a great job, and Trick is kind of taking the place of um, Anthony Brogna and Triplicious because they were kind of a big part of him um, going on in chaotic wrestling. Another New England mainstay, Sasha Banks, who has not wanted to sign a new WWE contract or whatever's kind of happening with that. Where do you feel with Sasha Banks? You buying or selling?
I'm a big Sasha Banks fan. I mean, it sucks she don't want to come back, but I mean, I do wish her the very best. I love the boss.
All right,
She's
all right.
she was definitely one of my personal favorites when she was with the company. Like, as much as I love Bianca Belair right now and Becky Lynch, like around like she was one of my favorites in NXT. But when she got called up in 2015, between that run from 2015 to 2022, she was my number one female wrestler. Back and forth with Bianca.
Do you think she should be paid what Charlotte and Becky get?
Oh, 100%. Why wasn't she the
I agree.
first time?
I definitely agree because that's been a big debate. Now I got to ask this: Brittany Grinier has been in the news a lot. Obviously, the country was really split. I'm all about bringing Americans back to the United States, no matter what the circumstances. Not a big Russia fan. But are you buying or selling the WNBA?
I'm throwing that in the dumpster. I don't think no one watches WNBA.
I have not, and I'm not. That's not against women's sports. It's just I don't even know where to find it, or if I'd be into it, or whatnot. But yeah, it hasn't made a
Th-
lot of money since
this is
'97 when it came out.
this is what I don't understand about myself. I don't shit talk female athletes because like we have where I live at, we have one of the best girls basketball programs in the state for the last like 12 years. We've been dominant. Had 6 Final Four appearances, 2 state title appearances, and we've won 1 out of those 2. And we just keep growing and growing. And then when it comes to I watch college, women's college, especially LSU. When we signed Kim Mulkey as our head coach, who coached Brittany Griner in college, she's got a. I love Kim Mulkey so much. I haven't watched this much LSU women's basketball in my life until we signed her. I've watched them a time or two in the past and whatnot, but I watch the shit out of college softball. I love college softball.
Oh yeah,
I'll watch
I
the hell
do.
out of that. I only watch women's college volleyball or gymnastics to get a bling. But
She-
now I do like when it's the Olympics and stuff. I'll watch the female competitors there and whatnot. But it's like soccer. Yeah, I mean, I have a love hate relationship with both soccer teams. I do believe, yeah, the women's soccer team has been tremendous, winning all those World Cups, but they're not getting paid the amount the men's team does. But the men's team can't win fucking shit. And I've shit talked the men's soccer team countless times. When we were in the World Cup, I said, them motherfuckers ain't winning shit. We'll be lucky if we get past that the group stage round, or however they do that shit. But then you got there's some player, I don't even keep up with players, but then there's some players I can't stand. But I do believe, yeah, I do watch the USA soccer team, and I do believe they should get paid more. just to get paid the same amount like the men's soccer team does, but I don't really give a shit about the WNBA. I'll watch girls high school basketball and women's college hoops, but I just can't tune in for a WNBA game. I guess it's got to do with the money, the ratings, and
There's no
all that.
marketing.
No marketing.
There is no marketing. I never see a commercial or anything or even know when these games are on. So if you're, I don't care what it is, women's sports, men's sports, shows like this, if you don't market it, no one's going to watch. XFL, buying or selling with The Rock and his ex-wife, Danny, I forget her last name, running the brand.
I'm gonna give this one a buy because when they brought before the pandemic happened and when they brought it back in 2020, I was kind of excited because Houston, we got a team close to me I can support Houston Roughnecks, and they were undefeated. I said we're gonna win the championship until COVID happened, and that's what stopped them from winning a championship. It's 10 times better than the Alliance of American Football, that piece of shit, because Dylan and I picked the same team. We were going to follow the Memphis Express, and they were trash.
I had the Arizona Hotshots.
And that went bankrupt. I felt bad for Troy Polamalu and whoever else owned that league. Now, this USFL, I gave it a chance, and I enjoyed it because the team we chose made it to the Final Four, but we lost the New Orleans Breakers. And we joked around saying, God, this team's better than the Saints as a joke. But no, I'm as much as I love The Rock, I'm giving this another chance. Yeah, I think it's ironic that Memphis got a team now. They're called the Showboats. That's an odd team name. Tampa moved to Memphis. But yeah, Houston, we still got the Houston Roughnecks. I'm very excited to see what they do.
DC Defenders still going.
Yeah, you and Dylan would be best friends. That's his team. He likes the DC
I went
Defenders.
to I went to the very last game. I was there.
I'm gonna try and go to a game because they play at They play at DECU Stadium. A very nice because I support Houston. I went to online, so I didn't took classes with so I'm kind of a partial Houston. I'm number one LSU, but college wise, yeah, I attended so I'm kind of a Houston Cougar on the side. I just don't really show it a lot. Plus, that's my number one college team in Texas is and they're going to the Big 12, so I'm happy about that. But if they end up with meet LSU in a bowl game, sorry but go Tigers.
Major League Rugby. Now you have a team, the Nolan Gold. You just took Dougie Fife from the New England Free Jacks. Have you know anything about the MLR? Would you buy or sell?
I don't know much about the MLR, but I think rugby's a pretty cool sport. So I mean, I don't. It's hard to watch. I don't have a Fire Stick anymore. I don't really want to stay up till at 2-3 o'clock in the morning to watch a rugby game. So I
If
know
you down
rugby's big in Australia and all that.
if you download the MLR app, it is not. I'm sorry. The Rugby Network app. It is free on there. I will say I'm a diehard Free Jacks fan. Hopefully that I want this league to just grow more and more. But I have to ask, Buffalo Bills, you buying or selling?
Well, I'm a fan of Josh Allen, and he's my quarterback. My second year in a row, he's my quarterback in fantasy football. But I give all the credit to Jamar Chase of why I won fantasy football title last year, and I'm close to getting back of winning another one. So I've enjoyed what he's doing. Yeah, he came from Wyoming, a school no one really can explain to you or name a top prospect from, like me, for example. I don't know much about Wyoming. I just know it's cold up there, and they got nice ranches and everything, and that's where Lane Frost passed away, and they had the bull riding that they don't do in Vegas, PBR, which I watch that every year, of the Wranglers National Finals. But yeah, I like Josh Allen. Yeah, he's giving me fantasy points, but this season he's been kind of like they lost games they should have won. He gave me less points when he should have gave me this amount of points. Yeah, Buffalo's a good team. I'll give them that, but it's kind of hard to tell who could win the AFC when you still got the Cincinnati Bengals trying to make noise. I don't really want to bring up Kansas City. I don't think Kansas City has a chance anymore to win the AFC unless they sneak right back in. The AFC is going to be a tough one to decide, but I can tell you the Eagles, I think, are going to clinch the NFC. I think the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl to either play the Bills, the Bengals, or even the Chiefs.
Okay.
So
All
I'll
right.
say bye for Josh Allen.
Here's this might be an easy one. How are you buying or selling Kanye West right now?
God, I'm selling. Yay! You changed your name to Yay. I'll buy 2004 through 2008, 9
2004 was the
Kanye.
best. Yeah.
Yeah, Dropout was a great album. All his music from 04, 05 was awesome. I like All Falls Down. I like Jesus Walks. I like Go Digger he did with Jamie Foxx. I loved Kanye when he bashed Taylor Swift in 2009 because everybody hates Taylor Swift. Um, what was it? My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. That was one of my favorite albums he ever dropped.
Yeah, he's just gone off the rails. He's just taking these interviews that I go, someone just get him help
Yeah,
and get a
since he
microphone out
since
of
yeah
his mouth.
since he married a Kardashian, his life went to shit. So I would blame the Kardashians on his like downfall.
Michael Jordan has the MVP award.
I am a very big Michael Jordan fan. He was the reason why I started watching basketball, and I was blessed to say I was able to watch him win two of those NBA championships. Yeah, I was still in diapers when that dynasty started, but I was blessed to watch him come back from baseball. I say two because I didn't really pay attention watching him winning in '96. I did watch a few games, but oh, wow, I can hear myself echo.
Yeah, there you go.
But
So,
no, 97, 98. I was blessed to see those 2 years. And Space Jam, loved the movie as a kid. I'm surprised I didn't put that as a top five favorite, but that's kind of an underrated movie. A very predictable movie, you could say, but no, big Michael Jordan fan. I'm more Michael Jordan over, and I do respect Kobe Bryant. God rest his soul, but I was more of an MJ guy. And I despise LeBron James. Current NBA players I love right now. I mean, I'm a Kevin Durant fan too, but I get a lot of hate for that. I'm a Steph Curry fan a bit, but I get a lot of hate for that too. But I love Zion Williamson right now. I love Giannis Antetokounmpo. I like him. But yeah, overall, Michael Jordan, the
yeah, I
goat.
think it should be called the Michael Jordan Scottie Pippen Award, but that's just me. Are you buying or selling cart corrals?
I'm gonna go with Sell because I don't really know much about that.
So, do you think that it'd be better if you went to Target and there was no cart corral?
Oh well, okay. Whatever you're going with, I'll have to go with.
All right, last question here might be the most difficult for you. The future of LSU football.
Maybe not too difficult. Like I said, Brian Kelly's his first 10 years over there. His 10-year contract. I do see him at least winning one. I'll give him that. And then when he's gone, whatever coaches we pick up, I could see potentially winning us future because since Nick Saban, every coach we brought in won us a title. Nick Saban won us one. Les Miles won two for us. Ed Ogeron won one for us. Brian Kelly's going to eventually win one for us. And then whoever comes after him, I think the trail goes on. And that's it's kind of been a tradition for LSU. They get the best coach they can. They get the one that wants to win, and they eventually would bring us to a championship. Because I'm not going to lie, when we got Ed Ogeron, I didn't believe he was going to win us one. That was just a magical thing that happened in 2019 is hands down the greatest LSU football team of all time, the greatest college football team of all time, and definitely the greatest year of LSU football in my entire life. I've never, it felt like 1958 because that was the last perfect season they ever had, which I was not alive for. It felt like that to me. We had a Heisman Trophy winner that year, and we went perfect 15-0. They did 12-0 back then, or 10-0, but national championship, no losses, conference championship, Heisman Trophy winner, playoff win. We had it all. And then went straight to rebuilding after we lost all that amazing talent to the NFL.
No, I think the future's bright, and personally, I wouldn't mind seeing Brian Kelly win a national championship. I don't like the way that he left Notre Dame, but that's for another time. But I appreciate everybody tuning in. I know we did a little bit on the live streams. We go a little bit longer than a traditional episode, so please definitely check this out if you weren't watching. But Marcus, anything you want to plug before we? I know we talked about the podcast. How can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at MarcusElite337. The podcast you can find on Twitter at World Elite Pod. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, as well. I don't do TikTok. Sorry, I just think it's stupid.
It's
The
a Gen Z thing.
podcast is on Facebook as well. We're also on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel as well. You can subscribe to at Marcus Elite 337. If you're a big wrestling fan and you're a big fan of countdowns and stuff, or you want to hear nostalgias, come to World Elite Podcast. Give us a love, give us a follow, give us a 5-star review. If you ever want to come listen and talk on the show, hit up Dylan and we will get you on. But yeah, thank you again for having me.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure from New Hampshire to Louisiana. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. We will be in the studio next week with Jerry Hogan. But until next time, everybody out there, let freedom ring.
Absolutely. God bless America. Thank you.